Don't these mini die casts look just absolutely perfect on the cover here, actually where Cruz and Lightning would be. All right, let's go ahead and move those up there and take a look at the book. If you've ever seen any of our reviews of the Art of books before, we don't give away too many spoilers. Obviously, there's some things that are inevitable that you may or may not know, but if you've seen any of the trailers, anything that we're going to show you today is going to be pretty safe. So just taking a look at the book, hardcover, always have an awesome embossed front. If you've ever seen any of the Chronicle books before, they started with the Art of Monsters Incorporated. So what we'll do is we'll take a quick look at the first couple pages here, just at the intro. Some awesome work here by Garrett Taylor, a digital piece that he did with Doc and some of the legends. And on the contents, the book is broken down by a foreword with John Lasseter, prefaced by Brian Fee, introduction Bill Cohn and Jay Shuster, and then how the movie is broken down, Act 1, 2, and 3, with some outtakes, which we'll talk about as well. And then Kevin Rear's acknowledgments, who's the producer of the film. All right, so let's dive in. So at the beginning of the book, there's a couple different sections. Obviously, the foreword we're not going to show, but the preface, there's a great story of Brian Fee learning about teaching and mentoring his daughters through a painting example. I won't share that because I definitely want you guys to pick up the book and take a look at it. But one of the other things that really stood out for me was this section by Scott Morse, who's the story supervisor on Cars 3, where he talks about some Cars-specific do's and don'ts. So if you're somebody that's looking to get into animation or even more specifically into storyboarding, he really breaks down some things that are really good to think about. For instance, in this trap number 1, presentational staging. So if you have two characters that are talking together, your inclination might be to just put them face to face. But he's talking about how do you make it more dynamic for cinema. So you might think about staging one character in the front and one slightly backwards. So when it gets all said and done and you lay everything out, this frame certainly looks much more engaging than just this frame of them standing side by side. So just things to think about. Also, on the subsequent pages, which I won't show you, he does break down other different things as far as eye line, emotional focus, and tracking. So things that are just really great information and really insightful things to look at. In Act 1, you really start to break down the highlights of the characters. So you start to see here, like Natalie Certain, there's a Chick Hicks page, Jackson Storm, McQueen. As you could imagine, throughout the beginning of the movie, you get lots of character introductions, so that's why the book is set up that way. As you move into, actually, I was going to say Act 2, but one of the things that I just absolutely love, and I know you guys are going to as well, is the look at some of the different cars and their designs. So you've got, for instance, this new one here that was seen, a advertising tent in one of the trailers was for Blinker, and now you can see him as the updated design in the film, and then this gatefold opens up and you get to see the next-gen racers as well. So really, really recommend taking a look at this portion of it as well. So in Act 2 is when you get to the Rust-eze Racing Center. And of course, when you're there, you get to also meet Cruz Ramirez, who's one of the new characters. There's great insights, as I've already mentioned, into how they design the characters, but also into the background of the characters. So originally, Cruz Ramirez was going to be more of a Lightning McQueen-style character who was at the top of her game, and he was almost going to be facing somebody that was very similar to himself. So again, I don't want to give away too much a little bit further down the line, but then so I skipped over a couple different sections, being the Crazy Eight and the Thomasville track, but one of the other characters that we meet there is Smokey, and there's a great insights as far as how they came up with the development of his character, and then also just the incorporation of the legends of racing as well. There was actually a great call out that it was actually, they thought to bring in the legends at an off-site story meeting when they just happened to come across that. So I won't reveal that, but definitely really good information. Also, I had to show this. I don't usually show too much from Act 3 of the movie because I don't want to give away the ending. But these pages, we've seen the trailer that shows the Florida 500 Raceway, and this definitely has some of one of my favorite artists at Pixar is Christian Aurelius, I believe. I hope that I'm pronouncing that properly, but I just absolutely love the detail work. And that's one of the great things about the art of books is that you get to see and start to really find out who are your favorites and who do you really connect with their different styles. And I have my favorites across all the different between story and some of the different graphics work that Craig Foster does and Laura Meyer and all those different folks. But Christian, I don't know, there's something about his work with the detail work, and it's very architectural, but yet still draws in the specifics of it, which is one of the reasons why I love Jay Shuster and his work as well, is because he's got that industrial design, but yet somehow or another brings that character and the really fine details of how you bring a character to life in there. So, also in the bottom corner here, you get to see the great Jerome Rampt doing some of his clay work. There's also other clay sculpts that you got to see for Cruz Ramirez and Jackson Storm in there as well. Lastly, I'll also talk about the outtakes, which is a really cool section. Some great work by Bill Cohn on all of these here, who's the production designer on the film. He talked about actually in the introduction with him and Jay Shuster that the early version of the film, and I just love the fact that the book opens it up to these type of insights. As early in the film, it was set in Southern California. We kind of heard some of that from Michael Wallace early on when he revealed that the new Cars 3 was being made. I think it was like 2012 or 2013 that he first started talking about it. But yeah, it was going to originally in Southern California. It was going to have some skateboard parks, fashion type jobs for the characters, a lot of celebrity cars. And it was set in the Hollywood Hills, contrasted against desert racing. I really don't know how all that was going to come together, but it's really interesting just to see how some of the early artwork here with some of those, you can tell it's more of the Hollywood side. They've got a surf banner up here. But then there was also Lightning McQueen had some identity theft in there as well. Just really, really interesting. The book also contains some deleted scenes from the movie and some alternate endings, which are really nice to see. And those are storyboard based. And then the book wraps up with some acknowledgments by, again, like I mentioned, the producer Kevin Rear, so definitely check that out. Like I always say with these books, they never cease to amaze me. There was a period there where some of the books didn't have as much text or insights. Definitely do not worry about that with this particular edition. It is another fantastic one from Chronicle Books, and we can't recommend it enough. I'll also fill you in that the next review that we're going to be doing is actually going to be the poster art of Cars. And this book is absolutely gigantic. I can't even show it all in frame here. I got to raise my camera up. So definitely look forward to that coming up. It's a massive book, lots of details from all of the Cars films, and can't wait to show you that on a future product review here. But in the meantime, be sure to stay tuned to PixarPost.com all week for the latest Pixar news. Bye-bye.